Today is Saturday, July 17th, the year is 2021. So if you saw those two pictures I just posted before you got to this portion of the video, a Little Rock Fire Department employee was arrested in a child porn case. A complaint filed in federal court accuses Christian Burton, 35 years of age, of possession of child pornography with intent to view and receive distribution of child pornography. He was receiving and sharing child pornography with someone on a device or the internet or something. So the police raided his home and arrested him. A Little Rock police detective testified at a hearing Monday that authorities found child pornography on Burton's phone and a photo that appeared to show his penis next to a sleeping boy. A judge ordered Burton to be held without bail pending trial, and the trial date was set for August 23rd. And so he's been held in jail, charged with taking a photograph of his penis, assuming that was his penis, next to a sleeping child. There are more details to this case. I've read a couple of different situations that on the internet, all from reliable news sources. But what I wanted to talk about in particular was this. I've been involved in the gay community since I was 18 years of age. And for some odd reason, and I don't know, it came to my finger on why, but I know a lot of grown men chase behind these young teenage, preteen boys, and I've never understood that. So I've always felt uncomfortable seeing young teenagers with people that I knew were gay. There was another incident. I just thought about this football player was arrested a few weeks ago. I thought I posted him too. He was arrested, accused of molesting some little boys too, and took them out and brought them some Nike shoes or something. I thought I posted that also. This was I'm looking for it now. I know I posted it. It was it was a football player. Here it is. Former Falcons LB Mingo accused of sex crime against a 13-year-old boy. He's accused of fondling and possibly masturbating or attempting to have sex with a little 13-year-old boy in a hotel room. This is a 13-year-old kid, and clearly this man right here is much older than him. You can read all this stuff on the internet about the former Falcons, LB Mingo. You can also read about this other guy, Mr. Burton. Let me pause this for 1 second. All right, so I'm back. So the former Falcons player, LB Mingo, accused of having sex with a 13-year-old kid. So if you're a parent, you need to be very careful who you allow your teenage boys to be in their presence. Whether they're 10 to 13, 14, 15, well, it doesn't matter the age. Any parent who is allowing a teenager to go places with an adult grown man or woman needs to be very careful about who they have in their company. These types of cases happen all the time, where you have an adult participating or trying to participate in sex with a minor. And it's particularly getting worse. And when I say this, people get angry, but it's just true. I've been in the gay community since I was 18 years of age. I'm 51. That's a long time, over 30 years. And I've known for years that these guys will go after these young teenagers. Not all of them, but enough that I'm uncomfortable because I know what's going on here. I don't know why these grown adult men go after these teenage boys, and I'm saying, like I say, women go after teenage boys too, and men, also straight men, go after teenage girls. But there's something about youth that attracts them. Maybe it's because the youth may be inexperienced about sex, or and in both these cases, these two men are just charged with a crime. They haven't been found convicted of it. But for the feds to come in there and arrest Mr. Burton and raid his house and come in there, I think if the feds get involved in something, I'm more than likely that they're pretty accurate about what they do. I could be wrong. This man could be innocent. That might not be his penis in that picture. I don't know. They didn't show the picture. But you better believe they're going to find out if that's his penis in that picture, or what other type of pictures he have, or what else he's accused of doing. So many people today share porn. I'm not a porn person, but I've seen my friends sharing videos back and forth. They get a video from somebody took with their phone, or a picture of something they share with this person, share with that person. Nobody really thinks they're breaking the law, because you don't know how old this person is in this picture that you're sharing with other people. It might not even be Mr. Burton's penis in the picture. It might be somebody else's penis, but the fact that he had the picture on his phone presents a problem. Where did the picture come from? Did he take the picture? Did somebody give it to him? Did he share it with somebody else? Or pictures or video? We don't know. I don't think the feds are going to jump in and arrest you for one picture. I don't think that's the case. I think there's a lot more to this case with Mr. Burton. And I also think that with this football player, that there's a lot more with that case than what they've announced also too, that what they did was what they said he was accused of doing in his article. Well, I don't think, but again, they're innocent until proven guilty. So we have to give them the benefit of the doubt, but they have been charged. They have been charged. Excuse me, I'm drinking this water. But I've seen this stuff over and over. I've seen friends of mine pursuing people who are 30, 40, 50 years of age, pursuing teenagers. I'm like, what are you doing with this teenager? And they don't see anything wrong with this. Now, clearly, that football player, if this is true, what was said, he knew that boy. I don't even know how he came in. How the boys were with him. It was two boys with him at a hotel. I don't understand what the relationship was there, because they didn't go into the details with these young boys related to him. What was the situation? Why was he at a hotel with these young men, these young teenage young boys? They didn't say that, but he was kicked off some football team. Excuse me. They woke up. Anyway, he was kicked off some football team. It makes you wonder. But that's the discussion about teenagers being with adults needs to be discussed. No adult should be running around with teenage boys or girls, and then if they're not in some sort of relation to like your nieces or nephews, or I don't know too many parents when I was a kid. I don't know. In fact, I can't tell you. I don't know of too many adults that when I was a teenager that my parents knew I was hanging around an adult. I don't know of any. I can't even remember the instance. Either I was with my uncles, aunts, a family member or somebody, but a complete stranger, no. And even as a teenager, I had all my cousins around us, so we would go down to my grandmother's house in the summertime in Michigan and stay there at her home during the summer. But we went with no just random adults. We were with family members. There'd be a lot of us in that house. So I don't understand how these teenagers end up with these strange men. Like I said, they didn't say, but I've seen this so many times. I've seen my friends pick up complete strangers. They'll be driving down the street and see some young boy on a street corner and pick him up and say, let's go shop and buy some shoes. I'm going to a party. Or you want to hang out with me or something? And of course, these teenagers are looking at these cars that these men drive, BMWs, Mercedes, whatever, and they hop in the car. A year or two ago, I heard the story through the grapevine about a friend of mine, an associate of mine, who was picking up these teenage boys who sell these water on the street and molesting these kids. Now, I don't know the person personally, but I know of him, and I've heard the stories people said. Now, eventually he's going to get caught. He's going to get in trouble for this mess and end up going to jail. I've had so many associates go to prison, serve time for touching these little boys and having sexual relationships with these teenage boys who are underage. But that doesn't stop these guys from doing that stuff. It's like they don't care. It's almost like it's a deep demonic obsession with these young boys. And they literally do this repeatedly until they get caught. Then they end up going to prison. I can name a few guys that I know personally who've gone to prison for molesting or touching or having sexual relations with a minor teenage boy or girl. So you guys have got to be careful. Watch your children. Don't trust these adults. And times have gotten worse. We're in 2021. The internet, Facebook, Twitter gives children access to so much stuff that they probably shouldn't have access to, and to people they shouldn't have access to also. But you can't just walk around here and be naive about what's going on, because it could happen to any child, any teenager. I don't care if you're black, white, gay or straight, it could happen to anyone. And parents have got to be more concerned about where your children are and what they are doing. Because sometimes we kind of lull ourselves in believing this won't happen to my child. But when you read these stories about these kids in this that I just read you about, I'm sure their parents were probably thinking this is not going to happen to my child. When it did happen, they probably were shocked that they had to go with their children to report this to the police. There are people, some people are just sex addicts. And some of these guys, men and women, are pedophiles. They want and go after little children, teenagers. They know these kids they know these boys are underage. They know this. But they pursue them because they have a sickness and they're pedophiles. And like I say, they could be gay, they could be straight, they could be black, they could be white. You all do remember the situation with the guy, Jared, from the Subway sandwich commercials. I mean, this man was living on top of having a great lifestyle as a Subway sandwich guy. He's in federal prison now for pornography, child pornography, receiving and sharing and distributing child pornography. And I believe he also participated in sex with some underage teenagers. I'm not too sure, but I think he will. I have to go back and take a look at that. But clearly, y'all have got to watch your children. You've got to make sure they are in safe environments and that you know the people that you allow your children to be with. These water boys running up and down these streets, those parents don't know where these kids are at. They don't know. They don't know who they're going with, what car they're getting in. All kinds of shit could happen to these young boys out here. They're on the street corner selling water they desperately trying to earn money. And that's what I said, an associate mine was going around picking up these boys and having them, this is what I heard, I've never seen this, I know who the person is, and they just said, oh, watch his ass. And I just thought that was kind of strange, because this person is an adult, someone who you would think would know better, but they're pedophiles. They go after these children. And as a parent, you need to watch your children. Always know where they are if you care about these kids. These water boys that run around these street corners selling these water, where are these parents? Where are they? Where are they? Why aren't they taking care of their children? Do they even know where their kids are? They have no clue. Some of these parents have brought children into this world and they don't give a damn about these kids. And then people go around using and abusing them for their sexual perverted taste, so to speak. And you wonder why these kids go on a rampage and commit all this crime. A lot of these kids out on these street corners have been abused physically, sexually, mentally. It's a bad situation in our communities. You see these kids out there. And then along comes somebody who wants to sexually take advantage of these boys. It happens every day. The black community has turned we put blinders on and we don't see this going on in our community. We just think white folks do this shit. I just showed you 2 black men. I could probably find 1,000 other black men who have done this to young teenagers, boys and girls. They get arrested all the time. clearly one of the guys, Mr. Burton, was a nice looking bodybuilder on Instagram with a huge following. Why would he be passing porn around, or distributing porn, or participating in child porn? What's going on in his head? If these allegations are accurate. Right now, I said he's just charged with something. I'm pretty sure the feds got the feds have a 98% conviction rate. I don't think if the feds get involved, they're like, there ain't no iffy. It's like, okay, buddy, you did this shit. So, nice looking brother. You couldn't find nobody his own age. The person I know that was picking up the water bottles, I don't know him. I know of him. But he is also a nice looking guy. I always said, and when people have told me this stuff, and I don't know, because like, remember, I'm hearing this through word of mouth through other people about he did this, he did that. I'm like, well, why didn't somebody call the police on his ass? I couldn't call the police on him because I don't know who he picked up and what, but obviously other people know. And this is the thing that bothers me. A lot of people know what's going on with these young teenagers. They see people doing shit and they don't say nothing. They don't do anything about it. Remember years ago, me and Earl had a pool party at our house. We lived in Buckhead. It was over 20 years ago. And somebody showed up at the house with this teenage boy, and we were drinking liquor and food and everything. And I was like, well, whose kid is this? But no, my nieces and nephews weren't even there. And I'm like, well, who is this? And he was like, oh, I came with so-and-so. I said, how old are you? And he was like, 14 or 15 years of age. I said, well, how do you know so-and-so? He had just met this boy, this man, picked him up. Just met him. Picked him up and said, I'm going to a pool party. And brought this teenager to my house. I heard him put that man in my car and dropped him off the train station. Right after the street, I said, you got to go. You think you can't stay here? Oh, no, you got to get the fuck up out of here. I said, Earl, I'll be right back. I'm taking this boy to the train station. I didn't even tell the guy he came, but I was taking him. Because clearly, the boy didn't belong at our party, at our home with all these adults. And he didn't even know this guy. I'm like, well, what are you doing here with them? You know him? No, I just met him. He picked me up. I said, okay. I took his ass right after that train station, dropped his ass off. And then I got back to the house. He's like, where's my little friend that was with me? I said, he's gone home where he should be. You don't bring no strange boys to my house. You pick this complete stranger up. You don't even know him. I've seen this shit. That's why I'm doing this video. Because I believe what these boys, these two people, Mr. Burton and that Falcon, I believe what they're accused of having done. And there are a lot more folks out there who just haven't got caught yet. They ain't got caught yet. There are a lot more people out there doing this type of stuff to little boys and little girls. Now, I can't, the interesting thing I was about to say, I don't know of many women violating other young women. I could never heard of that before, but I've heard enough about men violating young women and young boys, teenagers. I know enough about that. Just in the people I know personally who've done this shit. And like I said, I know guys who are going to prison for having relationships with underage teenagers, men and women. They lock you up and throw away the key. But that doesn't, even knowing that they can go to jail for this stuff doesn't stop these guys from doing it, because there's something wrong with them. They're perverts. Clearly the soccer football player knew better than what he did with this 13-year-old kid, who was probably younger at the 13 at the time. I don't know, you have to read the article. And this young man, Mr. Burton, who was arrested in the fire department, man, we've got into it on Instagram a couple of times. When I saw he had been arrested, what he was charged with, I was in total shock. Like, what? But I thought about it. Does it happen so much in our community? People turn a blind eye to it, as if it doesn't exist. Bishop Eddie Long was not the only person molesting teenage boys. There are a lot of grown men out here doing the exact same thing. They just haven't got caught yet. But they will if they continue to do that stuff. Watch your kids. Watch your teenagers. Do not trust these adults. Pay attention to what's going on with your children. You had those kids. You brought them into this world. You need to protect and take care of them. Be responsible for your child. Where are you going? Who are you with? Ask questions. You're the adult. You're the parent to this child. Don't trust your children around other adults, especially if there's liquor involved and drugs. And don't do that. Watch your children. Protect them. Clearly, we all know this happens every day. Every day it's happening right as I make this video. Some people get caught and some don't. I wish they all would get caught, though. Harming these kids. I've talked to so many I have a bunch of friends who grew up in households where their stepfather or their own father or brothers and sister or uncle molested them. And family members knew this and didn't do anything to protect these kids. It happens every day. It's happening right now as we speak. But anyway, these are just my thoughts and opinions. What I've seen in the past 30 years in the gay community. I would not trust these men around my nieces and nephews who are teenagers. I never allowed that to happen. I was always there. If I had a party or a get together and I had friends come over and my nieces and nephews were there, I was watching them boys like a hawk. I was sitting out there. Matter of fact, me and Earl would take turns. I'm going in the house, keep an eye on these folks. We didn't trust them. Not that nothing ever happened. Just making sure shit didn't happen. I was watching like a hawk. And my mother was too. I said, Mama, keep an eye on him. She said, I'm watching, baby. And we were protecting these boys, my teenage nephews. We all just having a good time. And some friends would stop by. My family members would be like, well, Christmas, it was Thanksgiving, it was 4th of July. And we kept an eye out on everybody. As we all should do to protect these young kids. So, again, these are just my thoughts and opinions. You know, that's all I'm going to say about this. Today is Saturday, July 17th. The year is 2021. You know, these people who have been charged with these crimes, if convicted, they're going to serve a lot of time in prison. You know, if this is true, what they've been accused of, the two men that I just talked about, Mr. Burton and the ex-Falcon football player, LJ Mingo, whatever, LB Mingo, whatever his name is, you know, it is what it is. I'm out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.